This morning, the FBI is raising the stakes in the manhunt for a former Olympic athlete, now accused of being an international drug kingpin.
Ryan, you're next, buddy.
America, the Department of Justice just increased the reward for former Olympic snowboarder turned drug kingpin Ryan Wedding to $15 million, making him one of the most sought-after fugitives in the world. This guy went from representing Canada at the 2002 Winter Olympics to becoming the FBI's most wanted, accused of running a billion-dollar cocaine empire that moved 60 tons of drugs annually while ordering witness executions from his hideout in Mexico. But here's what's really insane. Wedding is now being called the modern-day Pablo Escobar by federal prosecutors, and they just unsealed new charges showing that he had a witness gunned down in a Colombian restaurant to prevent testimony. Because here's what nobody wants to admit. This case shows how international drug cartels recruit athletes and use their clean reputations to build criminal empires that span multiple countries.
The State Department has raised the reward for Ryan Wedding from $10 million to $15 million.
What is up, guys? Tyson Dela Cruz here. Thank you so much for rocking with me. When the feds put a $15 million bounty on your head, you know this case is absolutely massive. Let me start with some breaking news that shows how desperately the federal authorities want to capture Ryan Wedding. The State Department increased the reward for information leading to his arrest from $10 million to $15 million, one of the highest bounties ever placed on a fugitive. This isn't just about the money. This reward increase signals that Wedding has become a top priority for international law enforcement. When you're worth $15 million dead or alive, you have reached the level of the world's most dangerous criminals. Federal prosecutors are now calling Wedding a modern-day Pablo Escobar and El Chapo Guzman. That is the Justice Department officially recognizing that Wedding has built a criminal empire on par with history's most notorious drug lords.
Today, we're unsealing a new indictment, charging Wedding with 2 additional counts of witness tampering and intimidation, murder, money laundering, and drug trafficking.
For those of you who don't know Ryan Wedding's story, let me take you through one of the most shocking falls from grace in sports history. This guy went from representing his country on the world's largest stage to becoming an international fugitive in less than 2 decades.
Ryan Wedding previously was an Olympic athlete for Canada. But instead of using the privileges that come with being an Olympic athlete to do good for people, he did the opposite.
Wedding competed for Canada in snowboarding in the 2002 Salt Lake City Olympics, ultimately finishing 24th. But instead of using his Olympic platform for good, he chose to become what federal agents call a major drug trafficker and killer.
Wedding went from being an elite athlete to running one of the most sophisticated drug trafficking networks in North America.
Wedding's criminal career began with a 2008 conviction for trying to buy 24 kilograms of cocaine from an undercover FBI informant in California.
Agents believe Wedding is running the operation from Mexico under the protection of the cartel, once headed by now imprisoned drug kingpin El Chapo.
After serving time for that conviction, obviously, Wedding didn't learn his lesson. Instead, he moved to Mexico and began building what would become a billion-dollar criminal empire under the protection of the Sinaloa cartel. Let me break down the scope of Wedding's alleged criminal empire because the numbers here are absolutely staggering. We're talking about an operation that moved 60 tons of cocaine per year. That is 120,000 pounds of drugs flowing through North America annually. The operation moved cocaine from Colombia through Mexico into Southern California, where it was stored in stash houses before being transported to Canada and other U.S. cities. Wedding's organization used Los Angeles as their primary hub for distributing drugs throughout North America.
Wedding, along with 15 others, were charged last year in what has been dubbed Operation Giant Slalom. Most have been captured, but Wedding and 1 other remain on the loose.
But prosecutors also allege he was involved in multiple murders related to drug crimes. This, in my opinion, shows that Wedding wasn't just moving drugs. He was using violence to protect and expand his criminal empire. The investigation has resulted in over 35 indictments, seizures of more than 2,000 kilograms of drugs, numerous weapons, $3.2 million in cryptocurrency, and over $13 million million in physical assets. This just shows the massive scale of Wedding's criminal organization. Now, let me tell you about the most disturbing new charges against Wedding: the alleged murder of a federal witness who was shot 5 times in the head at a restaurant in Colombia to prevent him from testifying.
Wedding is also accused of murdering a federal witness after he was indicted in 2024.
Wedding allegedly used a Canadian website called The Dirty News to post photographs of the witness and his wife to help locate him for assassination. This just shows the sophisticated and ruthless methods Wedding used to eliminate threats to his organization.
The witness was gunned down in a restaurant in Medellín before he could testify against Wedding.
This wasn't just a drug crime. This was an assassination designed to obstruct justice and intimidate other potential witnesses.
His lawyer advised them to kill this witness. His lawyer told him if you kill this witness, the case would be dismissed.
Even more shocking, federal officials allege that Wedding's own lawyer advised him to kill the witness. About 5 months ago, there was a massive cocaine bust in Canada that authorities now believe is directly connected to Wedding's criminal organization. This seizure shows that Wedding's network is still actively operating even while he's a fugitive.
Showing off what they describe as nearly $50 million worth of cocaine, Peel Regional Police announced their biggest drug seizure ever.
But investigators now believe this massive bust was directly linked to Wedding's criminal network, showing his organization was still actively trafficking drugs.
The likelihood of what's happening here in Peel being traced back to an organization like that.
Police stated that the likelihood of this seizure being traced back to Wedding's organization is quote unquote very high. This shows that even while Wedding is in hiding, his criminal network continues to operate and move massive quantities of drugs.
But in court documents we obtained, U.S. prosecutors say Wedding continues to traffic drugs while in hiding.
This means the $15 million bounty isn't just for past crimes. Wedding is allegedly still active in his criminal empire from Mexico. The international manhunt for Ryan Wedding has been ongoing for over a year, with authorities believing he's hiding in Mexico under the protection of the Sinaloa cartel. This protection makes him extremely difficult to capture. This cartel protection explains why he's been able to evade capture for so long. Federal authorities announced the arrest of 12 people in an international takedown, including Wedding's lawyer in Canada, who allegedly advised him to kill the witness. This just shows that law enforcement is systematically dismantling Wedding's entire criminal network.
Yeah, the attorney he's named in the indictment that was unsealed today, his name is Deepak Padkar. Paradkar.
The lawyer Deepak Padkar was arrested and will be extradited to United States to face charges. When lawyers are advising their clients to commit murder, you know the corruption goes to the top of this criminal organization. The comparison to Pablo Escobar isn't just rhetoric. It's based on the scope and sophistication of Wedding's criminal empire. Like Escobar, Wedding built a billion-dollar drug trafficking organization that uses violence and corruption to protect its operation. The Justice Department and the FBI are now working with Canadian counterparts and government officials across the world to bring Wedding to justice.
He is responsible for engineering a narco-trafficking and narco-terrorism program that we have not seen in a long time.
This puts Wedding in the same category as the most dangerous international criminals. The fact that Wedding went from Olympic athlete to narco-terrorist shows how criminal organizations can recruit people with clean backgrounds and use their reputation to build massive criminal empires. What makes Wedding particularly dangerous is he's not just hiding from law enforcement. He's still actively running his criminal organization from his hideout in Mexico.
There certainly are elements of his network that remain in place, but I couldn't say much more than that at this time because of multiple ongoing investigations.
This shows that capturing Wedding is just one part of dismantling this entire criminal empire.
Ryan, we're getting tips every day. People are calling in, so you're next, buddy.
The $15 million reward is generating significant interest from bounty hunters and informants worldwide, making it increasingly difficult for Wedding to remain in hiding. The biggest challenge in capturing Wedding is the protection he's receiving from the Sinaloa cartel in Mexico. This isn't just hiding. This is active protection from one of the world's most powerful criminal organizations. Obviously, the Sinaloa cartel has a vested interest in protecting Wedding because his organization moves massive quantities of cocaine cocaine throughout North America. Losing Wedding would significantly disrupt their distribution network. The fact that Wedding can order witness executions from his hideout shows the level of communication and coordination he maintains with his criminal network. This isn't a fugitive on the run. This is a criminal CEO operating from a secure location. Wedding's criminal organization had a billion-dollar impact on drug trafficking throughout North America. His network spans from Colombia through Mexico to the United States and Canada, making him a truly international criminal. The 60 tons of cocaine his organization moves annually represents a significant portion of the drugs flowing into North American communities. Every ton of cocaine prevented from reaching the streets saves countless lives and prevents immeasurable social damage. The sophisticated nature of Wedding's operation, using Olympic credentials, corrupting lawyers, ordering assassinations, and maintaining international networks, shows how modern drug trafficking has evolved beyond simple smuggling operations. America, Ryan Wedding's transformation from Olympic athlete to international fugitive with a $15 million bounty on his head represents one of the most shocking falls from grace in criminal history. The new charges showing Wedding ordered the execution of a federal witness in Colombia demonstrates that he's not just a drug trafficker. He is a narco-terrorist willing to kill anyone who threatens his organization. The fact that his own lawyer advised him to commit murder shows the level of corruption surrounding his criminal empire. The $50 million cocaine bust linked to his organization proves that Wedding continues to actively traffic drugs even while being one of the world's most wanted fugitives. The comparison to Pablo Escobar and El Chapo, it's an accurate assessment of Wedding's impact on the international drug trafficking trade. The international manhunt involving the FBI, Canadian authorities, and law enforcement agencies worldwide shows the global threat that Wedding represents. The $15 million reward reflects the priority that capturing him has become for international law enforcement. Wedding's story should serve as a warning about how criminal organizations can corrupt anyone, even Olympic athletes who once represented their countries with pride. When the pursuit of money and power replaces honor and integrity, this is the kind of monster it creates. Let me know what you think about this. Drop it down in the comment section down below. Smash the like button if you kindly would. Share, subscribe, and as always, guys, I'll catch you on the next one.